Hi, welcome to the Overcoming Medical Hair Loss Summit. My name is Valerie Fuentes. I'm your host, and today I am with Amber Perkins. She's here with us for the third time in one of my summits, and I'm so excited. And this time is celebration time. And we get to celebrate you because as of this month, I think, you got to reach 10,000 beautiful souls on Instagram, which I think is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
I really just wanted to acknowledge you for that because I think I really see it as the impact that you're having in our community. I don't see it as just a number. So, like, to me, that speaks volumes of, how much energy and work and love you put into your page. So, thank you for everything you do.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
How do you feel about it? Like, did you ever feel like you were gonna get to this? Like when you started your account?
No, I mean, my goal was to reach like-minded people. At the time, it was like I didn't even realize what it could evolve into.
Mm-hmm.
When I started my account in 2016, I went and followed every single wig girl or shop that I could find on Instagram, and there wasn't a whole lot. And within 5 years, the whole community of hair wearers, people speaking out about alopecia awareness, alopecia of all kinds, um, and wig stores, people who have started up their own businesses, creating hair for people. Um, I've witnessed a lot of girls who have started sharing their own journey, and then they start their own business because they end up loving it so much and it helping them so much that they evolve into being an entrepreneur and sharing that knowledge and their resources with others by offering hair. It's just grown. The community has grown so much. I didn't refer to it as a community when I started
Mm.
because it's like, oh, we'll just follow a few here and there. And it's just evolved so much. I've seen how people are not as skittish about putting themselves out there. They feel more empowered to share and to help others and to continue to normalize it. There's a lot of people who still are not aware of all the options that are out there, but the number of girls who have found their solutions and gained so much confidence and healing from it, they turn around and want to give somebody else that. And I have loved seeing that growth. Just, it's huge. The amount of accounts that are out there of girls just
Yeah.
openly putting it out there. And I love being involved with that. I never thought that it would get that big as far as the community goes. I didn't feel like, I feel like what I have to offer is valuable because I feel like everybody has something valuable to offer. We all have a piece of the puzzle, and that's what makes the world go round. However, we're always our own self-critic, and I didn't ever think that my knowledge or my experience or my story was going to grow and resonate with other people, and people would turn to me for guidance and help and questions because I didn't look at myself as wig know-it-all
Mm-hmm.
or I'm a public speaker or um, an inspirational type of individual that could help a number of different people. Like I felt like, oh, there's somebody else that can do that. There's somebody else that's going to be better.
Mm.
And so for the fact that it has steadily grown within 5 years, it makes me happy because I know that it has helped others. And that's my main purpose is not only has it healed me, but excuse me, but I know that it's helped others find their passion for it, find their feeling, also come to terms with their hair loss, accept it, and know deep down that they are beautiful with or without the hair. That that is what brings me the most joy. And I guess if you would have asked me back in 2016, okay, you're going to reach past 10K and hopefully continue to share and grow and have opportunities for yourself as have opportunities for yourself along with helping others, I wouldn't have known at all. I would have never guessed it, dreamed it, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
I'm
And I love what you said, that everybody has their own contribution, and that is so true, right? Like I feel that as being part of the community now, I can see how we're all different and we all have something to bring to the table. Like from the person that just started today to someone like you that has been doing this for 5 years, right? I feel like we're all bringing our uniqueness, our our feelings, our stories, like everything. Like you never know who's reading. Literally, you never know who's reading, and I want to speak to that because for me, for instance, it was a huge surprise. When I'm telling you huge is huge, to know that when I started doing lives in Spanish, I was gonna get the response that I got.
I thought it was awesome that you did that, by the way. I just love watching what you're doing, and I thought that was amazing that you went ahead and did that too.
I was mind blown. I knew that there was a need, but I never thought that I was gonna get like so many. I've received so many messages, and so then because of that, I did the meeting, like a virtual meeting, and in Spanish too. And I got to find out that like in all these countries there is nothing, right? There are no organizations, there is no content, there is nothing. And so I'm like, oh my God, like I'm legitimately contributing to my people, right? Like Hispanic people that are that speak Spanish, even if they're in Europe or whatever. And that, like, I had no idea. Like you said, like I just started like, oh, okay, well, let's do a live in Spanish because I felt called to, but I had no idea that this was gonna, come up into this to a point that, I'm now trying to do the same things that I'm doing in English. I want to do them in Spanish, and it's being so well received. But like, I had no clue that it was gonna be like this.
Well, obviously you're following your heart and what you're like prompted to do. I don't know, that might sound weird, but I just feel like
I literally feel called to.
The response, or because, and those people that have found you and responded and messaged you, it's because they needed what you had to say. They needed what you had to offer. And I feel like that with anybody who chooses, they feel, I want to do this. I want to put myself out there. I want to share my story. I want to educate. I want to just empower girls, to let them know that they're not alone, that they can do this, that this can be fun. All those reasons, I think, go for it. In fact, there was a few years ago that I did see some comments, and I don't even know who, but it was like, oh, there's too many wig reviewers. There's too many. And I just thought, who cares? Because the way that somebody shares may be very different from the next person. And whoever's out there in the world looking for guidance or help, they might respond and I don't know, just like the way one person shares over the next. And so there's always somebody, there's an audience for everyone. And even though I think what brings the community together is because there's such similarities in our circumstances, which is hair loss and finding solutions. So we can say us too, me too, and that brings us all together. But at the same time, can you hear the wind?
No.
It's so windy. Anyway, it brings us all together, and yet we all have our individual stories, circumstances. Like you said, there's people in other countries that don't have the resources, and so those types of things are all different. What we're able to purchase, what we have access to, and so everybody has something to share, and I totally encourage it. If anybody here is watching and you want somebody to like and support, like message me, say, hey, I started an Instagram. I want to follow and support anyone who wants to do that. So, and I commend you
So
for
I
doing
want
what you've done.
Oh, thank you. I honestly, it has been an honor, and I literally, that's the word. I feel honored to be able to help whoever I can help, right? Like even if it's just one person, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just honestly over the moon every day. Like I'm like, oh my God, I get to do this. This is amazing. So I wanted to ask you, like, how has like this been healing for you? Because I know you mentioned healing, like how you have helped healing other people, but like how has this been healing for you?
I think initially it was a creative outlet for me because I went to beauty school. I have always loved working with hair. Being creative with my thin hair was something that I learned to do from a very young age because I had to like work with what I had, and it's just been part of my life. Um, in general, I love to create, whether that be crafts or art or anything like that. So that transferred into the hair thing. And because I had lack of it from an early on age, I used hair additions and I improvised. And so being creative and finding other ways to have the hair that I want that I don't naturally have, um, I wanted to share that with others. Look, you can do this. Look, you can save money. You don't have to have, you know, buckets of money to be able to find solutions. There's different ways. There's different avenues. Um, so that initially the creative outlet and just sharing myself, writing it out. I'm a very, I like to talk out my feelings and write out my feelings. And so I often did that on Instagram. And I went through waves. Sometimes it was brief and, you know, memes, just something funny. And other times I felt deep in my feelings and I would write novels or poems or whatever was coming out at the
I'm
time.
guilty.
Yeah, and by sharing myself and just being vulnerable like that, shedding that wall, it and knowing that there's other people who feel that way, whether they decide to put their self out there or not, having them come even privately or through a message on my post or a comment on my post, and then being like, oh my gosh, this is, I'm so glad I saw this today. This helped me today. Or you've
Mm-hmm.
empowered me to accept this, or you made me excited about this actually. It gives you the warm fuzzies. And I
Mm-hmm.
think also realizing there's so many people who go through it. When you don't know many around you who are going through it, you do feel a little isolated and like you're alone. And so because of social media and all the technology that's out there, um, it just goes to show you really that that number is one in three women, I think, deal with hair loss in some way. And you hear those statistics, but oftentimes you don't personally know people who are going through what you're going through. And so because of
Mm-hmm.
this community and people from all over the world who are coming together and supporting each other, you realize I'm not alone, and that's healing too. So the support, the community, the creative outlet, um, and then having that acceptance from others, like, go you look great in that wig. It looks so natural. Like that positive reinforcement is healing as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
we need to, I truly believe that self-love and self-acceptance is inside, because you know, if you're struggling within, we've talked about this before, you need to heal your inner self. A topper can help, but it's not going to take, it's like a band-aid, you know what I mean? It can be like a band-aid if you haven't
Yep.
healed inside. And I feel like through this process of sharing myself, because of my personality, and being open about it, that has helps me heal. And you always hear that serving and helping others in turn helps you. And I truly, truly believe it. I've felt it. I've seen it. And it's true. It does. So I'm just grateful. I'm like getting like emotional about it. But anyway.
No,
So
no, I hear you. And it's totally okay. So healing is definitely an inside job. And I do, speaking to that, what you're saying of like, like serving, like it's a completely different experience. And for me, like how I experienced that was like, I've been wanting to do this for so long, but it was always in my mind, right? Like I'm telling you, like years. And it was an idea. It was like, I want to do this. I want to help this woman. I want to help this community. And it was always an idea, but I, for the longest time, like it was just like I was just stuck, right? Until I realized, like, you're not going to be able to do this until you put yourself out there. You can't help people from your house. Like nobody knows
mhm,
you exist.
mhm,
So in order to do this, you have to like break through your own fear of talking about this so you can make an impact. And it was terrifying. Like I used to be one of those, like I didn't like pictures, I didn't like videos. I was terrified of the camera. But the moment I got like, this is the only way I'm going to be able to make a difference, then it's like, well, this is the only way.
mhm.
Right? So like
Being
I had to,
vulnerable is a
yeah,
huge.
I had to break through my own stuff. And obviously it took some process, but I just want to say to like all the people that are thinking, well, I don't know if I can do this or not, you know, just think about the one person that you can impact by sharing your story. And again, you don't have to do a public service announcement. You don't have to go open to the whole world. I say like baby steps, like you can open an account and keep it private
Mhm.
and start sharing there whatever you like. You don't have to tell your friends. You don't have to tell your coworkers, nothing. Right?
Yep,
Like this
I
could
get
be your
that.
own healing process. Exactly.
I didn't invite, when you start a new Instagram account, it gives you the option to invite your contacts, your
Mm-hmm.
friends, people from Facebook or whatnot. I wanted to be, I wanted to share myself and be open about myself. And, but I didn't purposely say, follow me, follow me, follow me, because aside from like my mom and my sister, a few very close family members, I did not invite anyone in my neighborhood or anything, because I was still in that very more raw stage. I was enthusiastic about it. I was so excited about my topper. I couldn't believe the changes. I felt beautiful in it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was still like, oh, what are they gonna think? You know? And I would wear toppers that were the same color. I would never, not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing either. If you ask me what's my preferred look, it's to look like Amber, because I'm me. Um, and so to match my biological hair, I feel like me. And so I'm all for like matching and finding the perfect piece that is very discreet, because that's the whole point here.
Mm-hmm.
But I've evolved into such acceptance. I'm like, put on that pink wig. But at the very beginning, no, I was like, they can't know. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to talk about it, because those feelings, I didn't even want to, before I even started fabricating fringe, I rarely even talked about my deep rooted insecurities with my hair loss to my husband. And so, if he ever did say something, even if he was joking, it would hurt to the core. Now
Of
it just
course.
rolls off. Like if we talk about thin hair, or if there's anything, something about balding, or I'm like, yeah, like it does not bother me at all. But it just goes to show you that everybody is in their different stage. Everybody, um, and that I always want to be mindful of that, you know. Um, I'm all for like laughing rather than crying. So I'll post funny, humorous things. And it's never to offend anybody. But there are people who there's a can't remember the exact, I'm jumping from all over the place, but I can't remember the exact statistic, but there was a thing about hair loss saying that a certain percentage of women will compare the trauma and the pain of hair loss to like losing a limb, you know? And I never really felt it to that extent. Like I said, we all kind of heal, and we all,
Different. Yeah.
you know, feel that loss differently. But that's what I always want to be mindful of as well, is just because I'm here doesn't mean somebody who's following me is there. So I never want to disregard that and their feelings and where they are. And so sometimes I'll jump back and purposely try to remember those raw feelings in a post, because that can resonate, and that can reach those people who were in those beginning stages of acceptance, you know? And I don't even know how I got into that. What was the question? Can you hear
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because as usual, the conversation goes to great places. Because now you just reminded me of, like, I mean, not only we have to be mindful of where people are at, but like we're all in different circumstances, right? So for instance, now that I'm speaking to Spanish speaking women, and the reason actually why I started doing it is because coming from a Hispanic family, I know that being a Latina, you're expected to have this beautiful hair, right? So like for Latin women, it's like traumatized, like literally traumatizing not having hair. And the more and more women that I work with or interview that, you know, are from this culture, the first thing that they tell me or they ask me is, how did you tell your family? And that breaks my heart, because I'm thinking, like, how is your family the hardest and the toughest thing, the group of people that you get to share this
Yeah,
with, right?
yeah,
And it's merely
because
a cultural thing.
yeah, and
It's
it is
insane,
hard because
right?
you're like, you know that they love you, and your hair shouldn't impact their love for you. Um, but when you feel that way and it's hard to accept yourself, it's hard to imagine others accepting you as well when you're in that mindset. I've realized that when you personally accept it for yourself, um, people are very just supportive. They're
Mm-hmm.
actually, I have found that a lot of people who don't need to wear alternative hair are like, that is the coolest thing ever. I want to wear a purple wig. I want highlights to just throw in my hair. My mother-in-law, she's never really had thin hair. And she came over once. I may have said this in an interview before, but she came over once. My hair was all wet, but I had just put my makeup on. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're not ready. I'm like, give me 3 minutes. So I go in my room, slap on a wig, like it was just a synthetic wavy one, so it was all pre-done. Come out, and she's like, "That's just not fair. It's not fair." I'm like, "You can do it too. Nothing's stopping you. You don't have to have hair loss to enjoy the benefits and the convenience of what it has to offer." So, yeah, I've just found that people are kind of, wow, I'd love to do that, or that would be so fun. I've also found that I get messages from people who knew that I was wearing hair, and then their life takes them down a path. They find out, unfortunately, that they're dealing with breast cancer or whatnot, and then they're like, hey, they've come to me for help for those reasons, not because of hair loss. Well, because of hair loss, but because of a medical reason. And the fact that they've come to me in during such a hard, difficult time, and they feel like they can trust me enough to talk to me about their hair needs and what to plan for. It's just like, I don't know, I can't even explain. It's an honor to help them. And it's, I feel honored that they even want to turn to me for help, because like we talked about the different circumstances, I haven't gone through that circumstance, but I'm glad that they feel comfortable enough and confident enough in me to turn to me for that help. So
Absolutely.
here I am trading
And
off
like
again.
I said, no, I mean, like, honestly, like that speaks to also how you're showing up, right? Like, how are you showing up for everyone? So, when you were like, now I remember where we were earlier, because you were saying like, okay, when I make jokes, like, I'm just, I'm at a different place, right? So I think
Mhm.
that, like, like, you're showing up in a certain way that is attracting certain people, and like people feel safe, and people feel like, they
Mhm.
can be themselves. So, like, again, going back to the same thing, it's like we all have something to offer. Everybody does. So, no matter where you're at, no matter how you're feeling, like, I will say, do it for yourself, for your own healing purposes. Do it for others because you'll make a difference. And you'll learn so much, honestly, just for educational purposes. Like,
Oh
that
yeah,
alone
for
is
sure. For
priceless.
sure.
So
Yeah.
speaking of
Very.
education, I wanted to ask you, like, what are like the very basics of, you know, like, I guess, vocabulary that we need to know when we're searching for hair? Because I see people, and myself included, sometimes, that I'm like, oh, like, silk and lace, and what's the difference? And like, can you give us like a super short 101 of the things that we need to know?
Yeah. Well, it was all a learning experience. Speaking of learning experiences, I think you learn as you go. You figure out what works for you as you go. Sometimes people will just switch it all up and wear a little bit of everything, and then others find exactly what they like, the color, the cap construction, the topper size or whatnot. Um, some are very, adamant about only wearing human hair, and to
Mm,
each their own. But I think it took, even though, I went to beauty school, the alternative hair world is different. And so it just took experiencing different brands and different options
mm,
for me to learn. And then, of course, doing like the education ambassador program with John Renault, that
got it.
really helped a lot. Um, so there was different experiences that allowed me to learn more, but I think it was just trial and error. But anyway, going back to a short explanation, I started out with basic cap wigs. A basic cap stretch wig is a wig that is basically wefted, fully wefted. You might have a little bit of permatease. Permatease is what looks to be like backcombing in the roots, and usually they will put that in a basic cap wig to give it a little bit of oomph and volume in the roots because it doesn't have a definite part. Some backcombing people say looks like a rug. Doesn't look that great. Others, it just really helps a wig have the volume that it needs, depending on the style. So you have your basic cap wigs, and that will give you a lower price point because it doesn't take as much manpower to create that. It's usually it's all machine done. Has your machine wefts, it's all sewed. That's a basic cap wig. Then you can find, if you use your typical manufacturers like John Renault, Raquel Welch, Renee of Paris, places like that, they offer synthetic often and human hair. And if you choose to get something that's not a basic cap, you can find lace front, non-lace front. A lace front in those brands typically is made out of monofilament. Monofilament is, if you look up really close to it, they call it a lace front, but it's made out of a monofilament, which is also what many of them are made up in the crown area. So if someone says, I want a mono topper or a monofilament wig,
Mm-hmm.
usually this crown area up here, this one has a monofilament top. I don't know if you can see that. You can
Mm-hmm.
part it every which way. It looks realistic. But the lace front, this does not have a lace front, but the lace front is made out of that same material. And if you look up close, it looks like a grid. And it's more durable than your very delicate lace on what you can find, like a full lace wig from Gardo or from the Hair Click and places like that. Those Swiss lace, sometimes it looks like a honeycomb, or if you look up really close, and it's very, very delicate. Usually, if it's very delicate, it also has a more realistic appearance.
Mm.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Although silk, excuse me, silk can be very, very durable. Usually you don't see silk up at the front. It's always typically a lace front if you have a lace front, but people will have a silk top. A silk top looks the most like scalp in most people's opinion. Not all silk tops are created equal. There's different manufacturers. Some people will talk about, oh, this silk top looks gray. Skin isn't gray, you know? So everybody has their different opinion of what is best, but they'll kind of grade things by realism. And silk is a silk top, they would say it has the most realistic appearance in the parting area.
Gotcha.
Monofilament usually is your next step. And then a lace top would be your lesser expensive. My first topper, not my first topper. I actually had two monofilament toppers that were mono, obviously monofilament. But I did get a lace closure from Uni Wigs, and it was just a floppy piece of lace with hair on it. And it, with different techniques, dabbing some concealer and that on the part, you can make it look great, really real. But it seemed like you could see the knots on a darker wig or darker silk, not topper, closure a little bit easier. But there's different things that they do as well. They'll bleach knots. There's so many techniques for these companies and even individuals to make their pieces look the most real. Anyway, I
That
think
was a
there's
very big questions. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. There's just so much information. And when people look into it, they're like, I don't know.
I know.
It's
It can
there's
be
so many
overwhelming.
brands. Yeah, there's so many brands. There's so many options. There's so many constructions. You're like, I don't know. So if somebody is very, very scared, they could go find a brick and mortar location and do like a try on, look at the caps, feel the hair, feel synthetic versus human hair. They could try something lesser expensive, or find your buy, sell, trade places on Facebook or Instagram and get a general use piece. That's another option for people to kind of explore and discover what best fits their needs. Because what works for someone may not even be close to what the next person wants. When somebody comes to me and they're like, okay, I need to buy a topper, where should I go? It's hard for me to be like, go here, go there, get this, get that, because everybody likes different things. Everybody styles their hair differently. Everybody, their hair loss, the way their bio hair works, whether they have any bio hair at all, we all do things differently. And so we're all going to respond to what's available in our own way. I don't think anybody can say, I can recommend a place and say, I've been happy with this place, but everybody's going to choose what's best for them.
Right.
And that's one thing I won't do is say, yes, go here, get this, da, 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 because I guess I don't want to be responsible for somebody who spent all this money and didn't like it.
Right. That's a tough one. To give that kind of advice, especially because, like you said, we have different habits too, right? Like, for instance, for me, I work out every day. So it's like, okay, do I wash my hair? Do I not wash my hair? Like, how long can I wear this piece? Should I wear it while I work out? Like, there are so many things to consider. I also live in Miami and it's hot as hell. So I got a couple weeks, everything. But can I handle them? Not really. I don't know if I ever would be able to handle them. I tried, but it's hot. Like, I don't know. So I feel like we all have different conditions, different places, have different habits. So it's rough. Like you said, it has to be trial and error pretty much.
Some people get really lucky and they either, are able to save up and they've been doing a lot of their own research. They've followed a lot of people who share and they choose to, pay a little bit more money and get a customized piece. And it's like if it's like a glove from day one and they're like jackpot, where others, I feel like they really struggle to find what works for them and they
Mm-hmm.
feel a little defeated. I've witnessed that a lot with people is they expect to come into the hair world when they're seeing everybody else find that perfect piece or find that one thing or that one brand that changes everything, and then they go and follow in those footsteps and they're not as content, they're not as happy with it, they don't feel comfortable, whatever the reason may be, and they feel like very discouraged. And what I always say to them is just keep trying or play with the piece, go get it custom colored somewhere, cut in with your biological hair if it's a topper. And regarding vocabulary, I know earlier we were talking about toppers versus wigs and how some people aren't even aware what a topper is. I'm sure those who are watching this knows what a topper is, but as you guys know, a wig covers all your hair. Often you pull your hair up inside the cap. You don't really see any of your biological hair if you have any biological hair. A topper is a hair piece that can range in different sizes, shapes. They have pieces for the front, pieces just for the crown. They have pieces that are tiny and they just fit along the part line. And then they can fit your whole entire crown all the way to your ears. And then sometimes they're almost as large as a full wig with clips, and then you can shimmy out the perimeter of your biological hair. So depending on your level of hair loss, there is a topper for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how that's another thing that can be overwhelming though, is
Yeah.
okay, now what base size and shape do I need? So it can be difficult, but at the same time, once you get a feel for things and what's out there, it's exciting. It's actually a comfort to know no matter what, there is something out there that can help me, that can make me feel beautiful, whole. And then when you're not wearing it, you learn I'm whole without it. I'm
Yeah.
me. I'm fine without it. So you have it as a comfort, but then I think having it there and coming to terms with your loss, healing, it also helps you to come to terms with self-love and acceptance even without it. So anyway.
Right. I like, honestly, to be honest, and I think personally, this is just, my personal opinion. I think that your mindset and your relationship with yourself comes before any hair.
Right.
Because if you're in a good relationship with you, if you love yourself, if you have a strong mindset, nobody's going to take you down. Like, literally. Right? Like, you will come back up, like you will pick yourself up, right? Because we're going to have bad days where,
Mm-hmm.
I think like living with hair loss is not something that is linear. It's not like we started here and then we'll just go up. No, we go
Mm-hmm.
up and down and circular and all the ways, right? Like,
Like with
it's,
anything else in life,
yeah.
you do that. So
And if you have a strong foundation, a strong mindset, a good relationship with yourself, then you'll be able to get over those things, right?
mm-hmm.
And that's regardless of whatever hair you're wearing. So I would say, like, the first thing that you want to do if you're just recently experiencing hair loss, I will focus on your healing, like your soul healing, right? Before diving in, or I mean, or do it at parallel, like do it at the same time, like get the hair and work on yourself. But I definitely think that working on yourself comes priority before the hair, because you can get all the hair you want, and if you don't feel good about yourself and you're not loving yourself, then you're still gonna feel shitty.
I agree. My wig's gonna fly off any minute with all this in.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think like we've touched on so much today, but if there was like one gem, one piece of advice that you really want to share with us today, what would that be?
I have probably said this before. I'm probably like a broken record, um, possibly on my page and on past interviews. But I think it would just be to not compare. The comparisons, totally, this is cliche, but it is the thief of joy. Like we stated, there's a place for everyone. Everybody um, has a contribution to make. Everybody's story is valuable to somebody, and um, so I really do think that, especially on social media, it's so easy to compare. So always hang on to that truth that what you have to say and what you have to offer is needed. And if that's what you want to do it. Just like with sharing and healing and all the other things, there's rises and falls, and you might have a slump, but just hang in there. I've seen people close their accounts when things get tough, or if they get hurtful comments, and it's discouraging, and to each their own. If that's what helps them heal or to step away from it, go for it, but if their reason to close their account is because they're comparing growth, or they don't feel like what they have to say is valued by those watching, or they're second guessing themselves in any way, just know that we're all here to help one another, and I don't even know how to really explain. I just keep going, keep trucking along, um, and keep helping others. If you go back to the reason why, and if your why is to heal yourself, empower yourself too. I mean, it's not selfish to want to heal and empower and improve yourself.
It's not.
But if that is also to help others as well, stick to that and be genuine and authentic. And if you feel you can be vulnerable, and those who want what you have to offer will continue to come. I've been a very slow grower. People are like, oh my gosh, you have 10,000, but I've been doing this since 2006, and people have surpassed me. Go them, like, all the power to them, right on. Like, I'm so proud of all my hair sisters for what they've put out there and all the success that they've had, but just do you. Just keep going. Just keep going along. Do your thing in your way, and never focus on what others are doing. I mean, obviously support, be there for others, be part of the community, but don't compare. Anyway.
Don't compare 100%. And I also think that something so important that you said, like, you do you, and that includes taking breaks. And before we go, I have to say this because I've also known of people that get super overwhelmed, and they just need to take a break, and just know that you can, and there is no expectation that you need to post every single day or do XYZ. Like, if you're tired, you're tired. If you're done, you're done. If you want to take a break, then take a break.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
well, oftentimes sharing on social media, it's not like a job. This is something that people are doing, and if they answer private messages, they put time into their content to educate and help others. This is time that they're spending, not getting paid. As if you share and you're offered an opportunity to share a wig, that's a wonderful way to obtain your hair pieces while also promoting a great business. So it's kind of a give take, and I do feel very strongly that hair is earned, and these businesses are you know, what's the word? They are receiving a great service from these women who are sharing. So when people say, "Oh, you got a free wig," it's not free. There's a lot of time and effort and um, just blood, sweat, and tears put into these videos and the editing and even the backlash that people receive on YouTube and other social media platforms, you know. So to put yourself out there like that, you have to take the good with the bad, and sometimes the bad can knock you down. And I do believe it's earned, but for the most part, the service of spending hours, you know, talking to a fellow hair sister and giving her encouragement or education behind closed doors, that's just time that people are giving, you know, others from all over the world. And anyway, a break sometimes is needed to step away and take time for yourself and your family and the life around you. So,
Fill your own cup,
yep.
I would say. Absolutely. Fill your own cup, because if you don't fill your own cup, you can't help other people. So if at any point you feel overwhelmed, do you need to take a break? By all means, please do.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, love, it's been a pleasure again.
Yes, I love being part of these summits. I'm just always honored when you asked, and I love all the women and that you've shared and their interviews and everything that they have to offer. And I love watching your growth and everything that you've continued to contribute to those who need you. And I'm really honored, and I feel blessed to be a part of it in some way. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll continue to invite you time and time again, because it's always so much fun. And, I feel like we really connect to a deeper level, and that we're inspired by the same mission and we want to serve. So I love having you. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Amber. I will see you guys on the next interview.